my life, people have commented, number one, about me that I'm quite a quiet person. So naturally I would want to make a YouTube career being a quiet person. And what better scenery to represent quiet and solitude than a lake such as this, Horseshoe Lake in Illinois. What's up everyone? I'm Trey Baird. Let's walk and talk. So, people can generally be divided into two categories, extroverts and introverts. Extroverts are people who are energized, who live for socialization, who just cannot get enough interaction with other people. While introverts, people like me, are generally drained by interaction. They don't mind per se, socializing, but it takes its toll on them. The funny thing about this is, just because you're extroverted does not necessarily mean that you like people. And the irony is that you can be an extrovert and hate people. The irony in my case is that I'm an introvert and I like people, so it's kind of a curse. Even though I may like you, having to be around you too much is going to wear me out, and I need to go home and have some me time, some veg sessions, if you will. It's definitely an extrovert's world, though. Introversion has become more of an accepted thing, but it's still frowned upon to be by yourself. Even if that's what you want, it's still preferred that you spend time with other people, and that if you like to be by yourself, there's something wrong with you. Of course, being introverted doesn't necessarily correlate to being quiet, but I do think it has quite a bit to do with it in my case. In my case, being introverted means I'm more inward. I think more than I speak, and I often think before I speak, maybe to an excessive level a lot of times. I mean, we've all known people who do the opposite, who speak before they think and do not have that filter. Chances are that person is an extrovert, and I'm highly doubtful that that person is introverted, because introverted people do tend to think before they speak. One is not necessarily better than the other. In fact, a lot of times they can complement each other. It's good for like a couple to have one of each, to one be introverted and one be extroverted, because they can complement each other. For example, an extroverted person can help an introverted person kind of break out of their shell, and an introverted person can help an extroverted person kind of think more deeply. And speaking of thinking deeply, don't think that an introverted person will never speak. They usually just don't care for small talk. If you get them talking about a subject that they're passionate about, you can't get them to shut up a lot of times, and that's me. However, there's also the factor, I think, that someone who's quiet like me, it's not just because of introversion. It might also have to do with social anxiety. I often second guess what I'm going to say and my contribution to a conversation. And I found that when I'm surrounded by extroverts, it's, normal conversation almost becomes like a competitive sport. It's, get your thoughts in whenever you can and interrupt people, which I was very strongly taught not to do. Anyway, so back to the subject. Is it okay to be quiet? I mean, yes and no. You should never be ashamed of who you are. And if you're naturally a certain person, there's a quote that, comes to mind. It's better to be quiet and thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. Besides, a little bit of mystery never hurt anyone. As I said, there's nothing wrong with being quiet, and there's nothing wrong with being the opposite of quiet. But I think a little bit of tolerance for all types comes into play. At the end of the day, you want to examine why exactly, if you're quiet, why is that? Is it just who you are? Are you able to converse and you just choose not to? Or is there some kind of psychological issue? If there is a psychological issue, you might want to deal with that. You never want to suffer from low self-esteem or feel like you have nothing to contribute to a conversation. I mean, generally people are pretty open-minded about other people. You just have to accept that that's the truth. If you believe that that's not the truth, that will be your reality. The world tends to be what you make out of it. I know I'm speaking a little bit abstract, but just listen to what I'm saying. If you believe that there's something wrong with being quiet, then yes, there's definitely something wrong with that. But if you find inner peace and you're okay with it, then that's cool too. And I don't think I can really make it any more cut and dry than that. To continue to hammer this point home, I will just be yammering, and I don't wish to do that, so I guess I'm going to stop there. So until next time, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm Trey Baird. Have a good one.